your watches. If you're a watcher, Apple Watch, put it on the yoga setting on your fitness, on your workouts. Because stretching is working out too, and we count that. Okay. So starting in an easy Sukhasana, just an easy cross-legged position. We're going to start off of our bolster today, or pillow. If you would like to sit on your pillow, just to elevate your hips. So if your knees are higher than your hips, I definitely recommend sitting on your bolster, just so that your tailbone is heavy, the knees come down to the earth. Pull your navel into your spine. We're going to have our palms down on our thighs, just to ground. As we come into our practice this evening, we're going to close our eyes and start with the breath. Start with breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. As we continue to sit in stillness, coming within, begin to lengthen the space between the inhalation to the exhalation, imagining a 4-count inhale to a 4-count exhale. This begins to calm the parasympathetic nervous system and calming the mind and body, in preparation to open through the fascial tissue. Many of the foundational yoga postures can be experienced with a focus and grounding, an essential quality to cultivate during this busy holiday season. I'm typically rushed around versus aligning our energy with the yin season. As we are in this winter season and in rest and restore, winter is the pure yin time of the year. Water is the main element, and the two organs connected to this season are the kidneys and the urinary bladder meridians. Meridians can be described as pathways to our vital energy, or chi. For the Indian yogic tradition, the life force is called prana, and the pathways nadis. Both of these cultures draw and describe the pathways with extreme precision and detail. If there are any blockages in these pathways, the body might not function properly. While with these meridians clear and open, energy flows and everything is well. With yin yoga, after making controlled pressure on these meridians, controlled and moderated stress, energy is liberated so that the flow can be more easy. As we begin to focus on our bladder and kidney meridians with the element of water, any posture that tends to be difficult or a little bit harder, just come back to that breath every single time. Let's take 3 more rounds of breath. Deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Again, deep inhale, filling up, finding that lake, finding that space. Open mouth, exhale. Last one, inhale. Stay hold for the exhale. Fluttering your eyes to open, inhale, circling the palms high up overhead, gathering the energy and bringing it into your heart center. Samasthiti. 2 more rounds. Inhale, circling the arms, taking the gaze up between the palms. Exhale, palms meet at heart center. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, circling the palms high up overhead. As you exhale, taking the top of the right hand to the top of the left thigh. The left palm behind the sit bones in a gentle seated twist. Our seated twist aids digestion. It also helps compress the internal organs, aiding in clearing out those lines. We'll take 3 full breaths. One more deep inhale. Stay hold for the exhale. Inhale, coming back to the center of your space. Exhale, seated twist, opposite side. 3 full breaths. Inhale back to the center of your space. As you exhale, dropping the left palm to the earth, reaching the right fingertips over. You don't want to kickstand within the shoulder. Allow the shoulder to melt away from the ear. Really reaching those fingertips over. You should feel sensation from your fingers down the arm, opening through the ribs all the way to the hip. Sending that breath in between each rib with the gaze underneath the extended arm. Inhale, coming back to the center of your space. Exhale, dropping the opposite palm to the earth, relaxing through that shoulder, reaching over to the side. Give that same love and intention to the opposite side body. Again, not kickstanding in the shoulder, but allow it to melt with activation. Deep inhale. Stay and hold for your exhale. Inhale, coming back to the center of your space. Exhale, palms meet at your heart center. Taking your arms out to a T. Flipping the left palm over, grabbing the right ear with the left palm, and then we're going to take our right hands behind our back. The fingertips will be right behind the waist. A gentle pull of that left ear, or the left ear to the left shoulder. Again, not really yanking, but just a gentle, just the weight of the palm, guiding that ear, really finding that length from the attachment to the base of the skull, right behind the ear, down the neck and shoulder. 3 full breaths. Anytime that inner voice tends to begin to chatter within your mind, simply swish it away with the breath and come back to this present moment of stillness. Two more breaths. On your next round of inhalation, changing the grip right behind the ear to the base of the skull, guiding your chin in towards your chest, towards the underarm. You should feel the stretch shift down the base of the skull through the cervical spine, down behind the scapula. Again, not yanking that chin to the chest, but really just allowing the weight of the hand and the gaze to open the neck and shoulders. One more deep inhale. Stay hold for your exhale. Releasing the hand from the head first, guiding it back to neutral, then releasing that arm from behind the back. We're going to take a gentle neck circle. Nice and smooth. One more in the same direction. Beautiful. Coming back to neutral. Lengthening the arms back out to a T. This time you'll flip the right palm, grabbing the left ear, guiding the right ear to the right shoulder. Taking the left arm behind the back. Gentle breaths. With each inhale, finding length and finding space. With each exhale, surrendering to the depth of the pose. Two more breaths here. On your next round of inhalation, changing the grip behind the ear, guiding the chin towards the underarm on the diagonal. Shifting that stretch to the base of the skull, down the cervical spine into the scapula. Two more breaths. On your next round of inhalation, slowly release the hand from the head. Then release the arm from the back. Let's take a gentle neck circle going in the opposite direction this time. Nice and easy, nice and slow, not moving too quick. One more full rotation in that same direction. And then coming back to a neutral seated position. We're going to turn onto our table now. So moving your bolster or pillow out of the way. We're going to come to our tabletop. With our palms directly underneath our shoulders, your index finger will face front, your thumbs will face in. Pull your belly button into your spine and keep your gaze down so your cervical spine remains neutral on this tabletop. We'll take a few rounds of cat-cow. Cow pose, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Inhale. Exhale, tuck your toes, round through the spine, press the earth, and lay have lengthened space in between the shoulder blades. Chin tucks in towards the chest. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, through cow pose. Exhale, tuck and round through cat. Two more. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, tuck the toes round through here, through the spine. Coming back to a neutral tabletop, and then we're going to find our way back to our seat without our bolster block. We're going to come into a butterfly pose or a boundable cobbler's pose. So the soles of your feet come together to touch. If your knees do not touch the earth, take your blocks and put them right underneath to aid you in this posture. If you don't want your blocks there, you can always take and stack your blocks so that as we fold forward, it can hold the weight of your head. Taking an inhale, lift your heart, lift your chest. Exhale, forward fold. We'll be in this forward fold for 3 full minutes, so as to open the fascial tissue of the lower back, the inner thighs, the groin, the adductor muscles. This also is good for your kidneys. and it helps regulate your menstrual cycle. The gallbladder lines the outside of the legs as well as the urinary bladder, running along the spine and lower back. If the feet are closed towards the groin and the stretch is felt in the inner thighs, then the kidneys and the liver lines are being stimulated. Surrender to this pose. Surrender to the breath. Keep with those even inhalations and even exhalations. Inviting the body to let go, to relax and surrender. About halfway there. Five more full breaths. Your next round of inhalation, planting the palms onto the earth. Slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Guiding the knees. If you have your blocks in your way, sending them off to the side. And then guide the knees together to close. Take a moment to windshield wiper the legs side to side to neutralize the pose. We'll be going into our dragonfly pose next. So I'm going to invite you to take your blocks straight in front of you into a straight line. And then if you have a pillow or a bolster, putting that right on top of those blocks. Opening your legs as wide as your mat. And taking a moment to rock side to side. Again, not going to the depth, to the widest depth of your straddle pose, but I would say about to 80% because we will be holding this for about 3 minutes. So you'll feel this a lot in the inner thighs, in the hips, the hamstrings, as well as the spine. Relaxing through the ankles and the feet. Take an inhale, lift your heart, lift your chest. Exhale, slowly begin to lower yourself down. I like to stack my palms and then place my forehead onto the back of my palms. You also have the option to place one cheek to the bolster or pillow or to the other. If you need to stack your blocks to create more height, that is always an option. Just using the props to aid you in this inner thigh opener as well as a hip opener. Dragonfly pose stimulates the urinary bladder, the liver, and the spleen meridians. It also stimulates the gallbladder meridian. Coming back to that breath, always coming back to those deep inhales and those deep exhales. your body tends to start to grip through a posture. Really focus that breath to those places that are gripping and invite those places to let go. Sometimes staying in stillness in the beginning can be a little hard, but always try to focus that breath to invite that stillness. If you have one side of your cheek to the pillow or to the bolster, switch it to the other side so that the cervical spine is even and balanced. Eight more rounds of breath. Again, come back to that 4 count inhale and that 4 count exhale. Your next round of inhalation, sliding the palms underneath the shoulders. Again, coming up one vertebrae at a time, all the way to seated. Pushing the props off in front of you, and then guiding your knees to bend. We windshield wiper the legs side to, excuse me, side to side. Just taking a little rock, just neutralizing through the pelvic bowl. The next pose we'll be moving into is our straddle pose. So for this one, you'll want to take your blocks and put them right behind where your forearms will go. So sitting up nice and tall, I'm going to have my legs down long onto the mat. I'm going to guide my right knee to bend, and then I'm going to turn it inward, and in time, the heel will come towards the hip. Again, yoga is a journey and you have your whole life to get there. So if the heel doesn't come all the way to the hip right now, no worries. If you need to keep it out a little bit longer, in a longer angle, that is always an option. This is half saddle pose, and half saddle pose is amazing for your quad. It's amazing for your knee, for your hip flexor, and it's just an amazing pose, okay? So slowly begin to lower back onto your forearms. In time, you can go all the way back onto your back. This one is very intense for the insertion point in the hips. It's really good for that IT band insertion point as well. Again, you can stay up on your forearms, or you can slowly begin to take your forearms to the earth and take your back towards your blocks. But the big thing is you don't want your knee to come up. So see how my knee is coming up? Keep it to the earth. And if you need to stay on your forearms to keep that knee connected to the earth, then please do that. Always staying safe within your body and safe within your breath. About halfway there, stay with the breath. This one can get a little hard to hold, and that's okay. Just telling your body that you can do hard things. And breathe through. 5 more breaths. On your next round of inhalation, if you're on your forearms, slowly coming back to your palms. Slowly taking your hand to aid the knees to rotate. We're going to take a few rounds of windshield wiper motion, just nice and slow. Always moving very slow in between these postures. Never too quickly, never any fast jerking motions. Beautiful. Slowly finding stillness, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to guide the left knee to bend and then turn it inward. In time, the heel will come all the way to the hip, as well as both knees will stay together to touch. Never forcing it though, gently melting and surrendering to the posture. Keeping the knee connected to the earth. Again, if coming back onto your forearms is too much and just simply staying here on your palms is enough for you, that's always an option as well. Coming back to your forearms or wherever you're surrendering to. We'll take 3 full minutes. About halfway there. On your next round of inhalation, slowly making your way back up to your palms. And slowly guiding the knee to unravel. Windshield wiper the leg side to side. Beautiful. Sitting up nice and tall. We're going to go into a caterpillar pose or a forward fold. Option to take your blocks and stack them either on the highest setting, wherever your flexibility allows. You have multiple heights of your blocks, so definitely use that within your body. Taking an inhale, lift your heart, lift your chest. As you exhale, slowly begin to forward fold. You guys want to keep your feet as wide as your mat. I'm going to open mine just a little bit just to make room for me. Slowly coming forward. Begin to surrender back to that breath. Caterpillar pose is amazing. for opening the hamstrings, lengthening the spine, stimulating the kidneys and the adrenal glands. It massages the digestive organs through breath and compression. Inhale, just sending that breath and that length to the hamstring glute connection. So exhale, you release through your low back. Two more full breaths. Slowly begin to walk your way all the way back up to seated. Nice and slow, moving your blocks off to the side. Bending your knees. Again, take a bit of movement. Windshield wipering the legs side to side. Now, if you're not expecting, you can lay all the way onto your back. If you are expecting, you will take and make a diagonal line just to give yourself a little bit of cushion. If not, guide your way all the way onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest for a moment and rock side to side, just massaging that low sacrum and the spine. If you have your strap or your towel, you'll need that. Slowly finding stillness, you're going to drop the left foot to the earth and you're going to grab your strap or your towel and put it under the arch of the right foot. Slowly begin to lengthen that leg up the wall and then take a gentle bend, a gentle lengthen, and a gentle bend. Let's take two more little bits of movement. I like to come to the analogy of a rubber band in the freezer. If you were immediately just to pull that rubber band to its full elasticity, it might break or pop. But if you slowly begin to manipulate it and warm up that rubber band and then begin to stretch it, then it just kind of lengthens and slowly begins to find the fullness of its elasticity. As you find your leg up the wall, you have the option to keep your left foot planted onto the mat with the knee bent, or you can take it long down the mat, whichever feels most comfortable to you. Begin to close up your eyes and focus that breath to that hamstring, to the low back, to finding that gentle surrender and release. Five more full breaths here. Your next round of inhalation, slowly begin to bend that right knee. You're going to remove the taller strap and then figure four that right leg across the left thigh. Option to stay here. Option to take your hands and thread your needle, grabbing onto that left hamstring and pressing the right elbow into the right thigh. As you open that hip, releasing through the glute medius and the piriformis, the muscles that aid the outward rotation muscles. Three more full breaths here. This one's also amazing for the low back as well. Finding that release through the low sacrum. On your next next round of exhalation, releasing that right foot or the left foot back down to the earth, and then taking your arms out to a T. Taking the gaze over to the right side, and then slowly allow that right foot to fall over to the left side of your body into a supine twist. Just as we began our practice in a twist to aid the digestive system, we slowly begin to end our practice in a twist. Twisting aids the detoxification process of the body. I like to say it's like giving your internal organs a nice hug. For your next round of inhale, slowly guide your feet back to neutral. Uncross the right from the left, and then reach for your towel or strap once more. Taking your towel or strap underneath the arch of the left foot, we'll take a few lengthen and bend at the knee, and then lengthen up the wall, and bend the knee. 2 more, lengthen, and bend. Last one, lengthen, and bend. And then lengthen back up that wall. Finding that stillness, giving that same breath to the left hamstring glute connection. Maybe reclose the eyes. If you lost that breath, come back to that 4 count of inhale, 4 count of exhale. Five more breaths. On your next round of inhalation, slowly begin to bend that knee, removing the strap or towel off to the side. Taking a figure 4 on the opposite side, we thread the needle, taking the hands interlaced behind the right hamstring. The left elbow presses against the left thigh. more full breaths. Slowly releasing the right foot back to the earth, lengthening the arms out to a T in the same line as the shoulders, taking the gaze over to the left shoulder. Slowly allow that left foot to guide its way to the earth into your supine twist, opposite side. 5 full breaths. One more deep inhale. Stay hold for your exhale. Inhale, slowly guiding your legs back to neutral. Uncrossing the legs and then windshield wipering them side to side. Still laying flat on your spine with your feet bent, or your knees bent with your feet planted onto the earth. Grab your block and then lift your hips just for a moment and place it directly underneath your sacrum. Walk your knees as wide as your mat. Take your knees together and sink them inward into a restorative broken bridge. This should feel nice on your low back. Resetting that pelvic bowl. Again, this can be done with no props altogether. But that extra bit of compression from the block really helps. 3 more full breaths. Next round of inhalation, heel toe the feet back to neutral. Still on that block, hug the knees into the chest, and then lengthen your legs up the invisible wall. Allowing the blood to cycle back to the heart. This calms the parasympathetic nervous system. Take 3 full breaths here. On your next round of inhalation, hugging the knees back into the earth. Exhale, release the feet to the earth. Lifting up the hips, removing the block off to the side. Giving yourself one more loving squeeze. Hug those knees back into the chest. Maybe take a moment, rock side to side. And burst open into your Shavasana. Your final resting pose. Releasing any tension between your eyebrows. No tension in your face, your jaw. Allow your tongue to fall heavy away from the roof of the mouth. Just taking this last bit of moment in stillness. Feeling your body long connected to the earth. As you take this last moment of stillness, reflecting on the essential honor it is to find this winter season, to slow down despite the holiday mania, to pause and reflect so that our forward motion may be filled with intention. Slowly begin to bring breath back to your awareness. Maybe movement back to your fingers, your toes, maybe circling your wrists and ankles. Maybe taking a full body stretch, inhale, reaching your arms high up overhead, finding length through the entire body. As you exhale, rolling over to either side, hugging your knees into your chest, cradling your head with your bicep. We take a moment in fetal pose. Our Shavasana corpse pose represents the death or the end of that practice, where our fetal pose represents our new life, our new beginning, a new reset to your energetic field. Taking your top hand and pressing firmly into the earth, guiding yourself back to a comfortable seated position. Eyes will close, palms will meet at heart center. Taking one more deep inhale. Open mouth, exhale, let it all go. Thank you so much for joining me for this yin practice this evening. The light within me sees, honors, and loves the light within each of you. And I share my light with you. Namaste.